What's up, guys? Today I'm going to help you install this DCM Delete for the GR86 BRZ. That's the data collection module that sits on top of the back of the stereo head unit. It's been confirmed that if you look up the LexisNexis stuff, that your information is constantly not only being transmitted back to the dealership, but also being sold to your insurance company. So if you care about your privacy or you don't want to just see your insurance go up based on your speeds or location, even if you're not getting a ticket, you might want to install this thing. I got it from Hachi Electronics. It's made by someone else. Apparently it's just plug and play. So this is your little tracker. The downside of removing this is you'll lose some of the app functionality, like, you know, remote locking and unlocking of your car and remote start stop if you have that. Although if you have a manual, it's not going to do that. I believe every model, BRZ and GR86, has this except for the base model manual BRZ. You will also lose the SOS button functionality. You got to take apart a couple interior pieces. So you'll need some kind of little plastic pry tool. You'll need a Phillips screwdriver. You may also need flathead screwdriver to get the stubborn connections out of the back. You'll need something to remove 10mm bolts. You'll probably need either like a couple zip ties or maybe some electrical tape. And I'm gonna use this double-sided sticky pad to basically stick this on top of the head unit back there so nothing's moving around. So let's get into it. First, you're gonna remove this side panel on the passenger side. This is where the fake sound generator and all that's located. So if you pry it from the bottom, you can get that off. Okay, so next we gotta remove this whole piece. So we just gotta pull from the side and just kind of manhandle it. That comes off. Next, you're gonna take your screwdriver, take this screw out. Once that's out, you're gonna try to get under there with your finger and just pull on it. And this whole thing is gonna come out. Ooh. Hopefully you're more graceful than that. Next, this piece. See that screw right there? Take off that screw. Reach in, pull the back of it. Pretty stubborn, but anyway, you can just leave it there. Okay, now the vents. It's right here. You can stick your finger in, lift it. And you can either just connect that or you can probably just leave it hanging like this. Now, take your 10mm wrench, take off that one, that one, that one, and that one. Obviously, a little extension helps. This one on the right's a little bit more difficult to get to with your fingers. Careful not to drop anything. Okay, now we gotta pull this thing out. I put some towels down to access the back of it. I'm going to pull it out and try not to scratch up my car. Just gotta wiggle it free. And those 4 brackets that you took bolts off of, just make sure they don't scratch anything. And now you see on here, this is the part we want to remove. So this top black piece that everything's plugged into, we're going to plug these 2 gray ones into here. If you want to remove this whole thing, you're going to need like undoing the screws on the side, just the top ones. I guess that one as well. So once you remove those 4 screws, 2 on either side, the whole thing just lifts out. So I'm gonna go ahead and unplug all the wires in the back. Okay, so the two gray ones that we need, I'm not gonna lie, they're very hard to remove. I can tell there's a little bottom. If you turn the thing upside down, there's little tabs you can push in, but it's very hard to push them in and pull the thing out. It sucks, I'm not gonna lie. Also, really make sure your head unit is resting on something other than your buttons here. So some kind of cloth or something. I got a flathead screwdriver here. Okay, the jam is get a flathead on the underside where you have these little pushy tabs. Push down the little tab with the flathead. And just wiggle the thing. Woo! We're gonna replace that with this guy. The little gray plugs only fit one way. Snap them in. Snap them in. The rest of the plugs, I guess I'm just gonna like zip tie them so they don't rattle around in here. And cut this. I'm gonna go ahead and tape this whole module to the top. Got my little tape pad on there. Press that down. And now we're golden. Now we put it all back together. Now, when you're putting it back together, beyond the little metal tabs, there's two plastic tabs that go into another plastic part. You gotta push those guys in. Oh. Helps if you don't pinch your cloth in between. Now everything in reverse. Make sure those are nice and snug. We can snap this guy back into place. Get our left side in first here. There we go. Middle, right. Just make sure all the connections are nice and flush. Now you can put this piece back in. Just snaps into place. And then screw that bottom screw back in. And that bottom screw is sometimes a little weird to get it threading properly. I have to push on the back piece while screwing it in. It's time to put this piece back now. Try to get all the little clips in. There we go, okay. Just make sure this is the same flushness across the whole thing. If not, you're missing a clip. And then we put our little screw back in right there. Put back this guy. Oh, that one's easy. Then we'll put the side clip back in. You put it in towards the front of the car first. We'll keep these extra 4 screws in the actual side of the black box in case we ever want to put it back in, I guess for resale or something. Now that we're all done, let's just start this thing and make sure nothing weird happens. Nothing weird on the dash. Radio still works. That's just coolant. That's just my lane change warning turned off and my hill on. So everything's good. That's that.